I thought the best way to show you how to do the hyperlinks and the things I did in that presentation you asked about was maybe just do a video walkthrough using some of the pictures from the museum and just sort of showing you how all this is put together. So in a nutshell though, you need to really remember just a couple of three things. First is about removing transitions on your PowerPoint slides. If you think back to what is at the museum, we have a flat panel all-in-one computer, meaning it's a touchscreen. So if you touch somewhere in PowerPoint, of course, you already know. Let's jump over here and go into presentation mode. If you click on a PowerPoint slide, it goes to the next one. At some point as you're building this presentation or before you get through, you want to remove that. We're going to give people specific places to touch the screen, which will make things happen, but we want to kill that function at some point that touching anywhere on the screen will cause us to move to the next slide. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take it out of that linear presentation and we're trying to jump around and go different places with hyperlinks. So at some point, that's really important to do. It's pretty simple. I'm going to highlight a slide over here on the left. If I hit Control A, which selects them all, I can go up into Transitions and click that off. Now that it is not checked where it says on mouse click and there's nothing on timing. So when I go into presentation mode, I can click. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm clicking all over the screen. It doesn't move. I can still use my keyboard commands, but since the keyboard won't be there when we get this finished, the only way they can move to another slide is by clicking on the specific link we're going to give them. So you can do it first as you do slides. Each slide you can do it, or you can wait till the end. But at some point you need to remember number one, and that's remove those transitions. The second big thing about doing what I did was title your slides. Okay, let's go back to PowerPoint and look. This particular one I have 11 slides. PowerPoint will keep track of your slides two ways. Number one, if you don't have a title on it, it's simply the sequence that the slide is in. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of these slides have titles on them yet. So if we start titling them, it will come into a situation that we can use later. So as an example today, let's look at a title. This slide does not have a title on it. If you notice, the picture fills the whole slide, but it's back there. But I do want to put a title with it. So all I have to do is go to the Home tab, and on slide layout it gives me all the different kind of slides that it's available. Over here there's one that says title only, so I can put select that one, and you can see my title box shows up. Let's click to add title, right? So it's pretty simple. I click in the box and I want to call this main. So this is an example, like this is my main number one slide that people would see when they open this presentation, or every time they walk up to the computer they'll see this one and they're going to be able to navigate around. So I'm just going to call this main. It's my main slide. If I go into presentation mode, you'll see the word main here. Now if it fits your presentation, you certainly can leave that slide, or that text box there that has the title. You can make the title any color, anything you want to do. I'm going to turn it black just for what we're seeing, and there's my title. But I really don't want it on this slide. I don't want it visible. So what I'm going to do is just simply click it and move it up where it's off the view. So now when you go into presentation mode, it's not there, but you see up here it still exists, and that slide is still titled main. I know where I'm headed with this, so my next slide that I'm going to look at is the Arrowhead case right here. So I'm going to go from an overview, and my next, if I click on the case here, I want to go to an overview of the case by itself, and that's number 9. So here's my overview, and it's a good time to do the same thing. Go to my Home tab, Layout, and I've added that title. So I'm going to call this AH case main. So that's the main case for the Arrowhead collection. And it's just something I need to name it so I can see it later, and I'll show you what I mean. But it's always good as you're building these slides to go ahead and title them. If you know you're going to be hyperlinking sort of as you put them together, you can do it, okay? And I know once I go to this slide, I'm going to have a selection for each of these boxes as well, and I have them over here. So if I go to the box that's on the lower left, I can title this one anything I want, but I'm going to go ahead and title it lower left. That'll keep it straight. And this will start me on my trip of how to get around, how to navigate in here. So lower left, if I make that black, you can see the title. So big point, number 2 is a huge point. It will make your life so much easier if you title your slides and you use these slides as with titles and not numbers. And as we start setting the hyperlinks here at number 3, I'll show you why. So if you notice a hyperlink, underneath it I have that set of slides that we're working on in PowerPoint. Again, PowerPoint by definition wants to be linear, so it's going to go from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 to number 4. What we're going to do is teach it to go from 1 to 9 or 1 to wherever we want it in the presentation. For this example, we're just going to go 1 to 9. But we would have another set of slides for this case and another set of slides maybe for the guidon over here. Anything we want to put in this and start linking, that's what we're going to do. So we don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We want people to be able to go from 1 to 9, 1 to 6 if that's the next one, or 1 to 7 if that's where they prefer to go, or 1 to 11. Wherever they want to go in here, we can set a hyperlink very, very easily. So this is where the titles are going to come into play in the examples I can give you. So let's set a hyperlink real quick. Again, this case with the arrowheads is the one we're looking at. So usually what I do is I just go to insert, I get me a shape, select it, you click and drag to put the shape in like that. Now I have to format this shape, and I do that by doing a right click. It drops down my dialog box, format shape. On fill, it doesn't really matter. Let's take the line away. We want no line. But on fill, the color doesn't matter, but I'm going to make it 100% transparent. Now, that's really important because this box exists. You can just see through it, but it is an item on the screen. And as long as it's on the screen and exists, you can create a hyperlink to it. Anything on your PowerPoint presentation, you can use as a hyperlink. A text box can be a hyperlink. A photo, a shape, practically anything you can put on the screen, if it will go onto your PowerPoint slide, it will go onto your it can act as a hyperlink to jump somewhere else. So I've got a shape, I make it 100% transparent. Now I have to tell it where I want to go. So I click again, right click, and it gives me the hyperlink command. So I click on it and it says, where do you want to hyperlink to? I can hyperlink to other presentations, I can go all over, but what I want to do is go inside this document, the PowerPoint, and you noticed everything that I didn't title earlier has a number, but some of them that we titled have the name. And that's what I'm talking about being very important, because if I set a hyperlink just here to slide 5, keep in mind that if I change my slide order, the hyperlink will always go to slide 5. So if I change things later, this particular slide that I want to hyperlink to may not be slide 5 anymore if I add a slide or subtract a slide prior to 5. But I can make it, no matter what changes I make, that it always hyperlinks to the right one by linking to the title. So I'm going to go from the main title or the main page to the main case page. So I select it and hit OK. Now when I go to this, I don't see the box at all, but if you watch the cursor, you see it's a small arrow. When I get to that shape I put in, it's now a little hand. If I click that hand, it will take me to that hyperlinked setup. So that's the way to do that. You're just jumping from one place to another and being in control of it. So my box exists here. Now, anytime you go anywhere, you can set another hyperlink to go to each one. So in this example, if I pull up this main page or this main case of arrowheads, I may want to look at each individual arrowhead box. So my first hyperlink is from the main page to the case. I'm going to add another hyperlink to this lower left. Do the same thing, no line and 100% transparent. I'm going to right click, hyperlink, and I will hyperlink it to the lower left titled page. So just like earlier, we go into the presentation view, I can click to it and it's there. So we get out of that. Then it's pretty simple. If you hyperlink to somewhere, you need to hyperlink back. So this arrowhead case with the individual arrowheads in it is the place where if we're there, we probably want to just go back to the main arrowhead case. So I can put anything in there. I can put a button or a picture or something, and I can just say back to case main. It's a back button. It's a way just to go back to that prior one. If I make it it's just the one I'm going to use. So I right click it, I go to hyperlink, and I want to go back to the main page. So if we look at that in presentation mode, here's the one I just made. We click it, we go back to the main. Now if I go back to the main, I may want to go back to the overall main page, so I need a button there. So with that pulled up, I can, let's find another shape. You can use anything, never forget that. You can use any shape, any photo, anything you want to do. Maybe if I just put an arrow back to main menu, I can size it. I mean, I can, dress it up in PowerPoint however I want to. Something like that. I right click it, I hyperlink it, and go back to the main. So I've got that done. Go into presentation mode that people will see. I'm clicking on it. It won't let me go anywhere, but I can go back to main menu, or I can click on the individual box and bring it up and then go back to case main. So it's just a way of getting out of the linear mode. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's just a way to jump around. But that gives you a little overall view of how to make that work that way and how easy it really is.